Welcome to week 12 of Bucks Weekly, the winter sports season, and I'm with head boys basketball coach Matt Pond, and we're going to do a season recap about with the Bucks this week. They're coming off of a 5-18 season where they fell in the opening round of the sectional tournament over at Piqua against Lehman. But coach, there were a lot of highlights this season. You know, with the 5 wins, and 2 in particular I can really think of was a great win against Miami East, and then the second game when we played Newton at home and had a really nice win on senior night.
Right. Yeah, they were, and like you said, 5-18. There are a lot more highlights than I think people would imagine with that type of record. But those were 2 big wins for us, both league wins. Always special to play Miami East. You know, Coach Mack he's an alumni, and they have a wonderful program over there. So it's always good to get them, and then to turn around and beat a backyard rivalry with Newton, especially on senior night, where all the kids contributed, and we're very fortunate to have a great crowd there to appreciate it.
Yeah, and even some of the losses, and I go back particularly earlier in the year when we started the season. We started off with a meat grinder with Franklin Rowe and Versailles.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pick two more difficult opponents to start the season off.
Right.
But our kids didn't back down or bat an eye against those 2 teams.
No, and that's attributed to our senior leadership. Started off with a rough weekend with FM and Versailles, 2 teams that are still in the tournament, and shortly thereafter played a very good Anna team, I think, that's still in, if I'm not mistaken. And again, our kids were up to the task. We lost all those games, but also at the time we're in most of them until at least the third and the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And that's a tribute to our kids' effort and their coachability.
Okay, can you talk about your senior class, this year? And I know you've been told several times, and I've heard it, from a lot of people, is just how good the kids are.
They are, and again, people would look at 5-18 and maybe question that a little bit, but that has nothing to do with our kids' effort or what type of kids they are. And our seniors have definitely given not only our basketball kids, but really, all our students, all of that school community, something to look up to and strive to. When you have a season where you have that many losses, that's very difficult. And I have to credit my kids and really my seniors for being the kids that came in every day, every Saturday morning after a tough loss on Friday night, or Wednesday after school after a tough loss on Tuesday night. Those kids showed up. They were great teammates. They never embarrassed, obviously, themselves, their coaching staff, or their community. And I could not be prouder or thankful for what they've given to our program since they've been involved in it.
Well, and looking back to the season, of course, 18 losses, is tough, especially kids. They're not going out there trying to lose; they're going out there trying to win. And a season like that can be very frustrating sometimes for kids, because I'm sure they hear it in the community. They hear it, probably see it on Twitter and all that other stuff. But
right.
Going back to the season, I can only remember one time a Covington kid picking up a technical foul in a game. And to me, at that time, we talked about earlier,
mm-hmm.
It really didn't seem like the type of reaction that warranted a technical foul.
Right.
So these kids, really represented themselves and their school and their community, I thought, in a really classy way with the way they conducted themselves on and off the court. Can you comment about that a little bit?
Well, it's just who they are. It's one. I hate to say it's expected, but these are kids that we've been around, and they've never shown us anything different than that. I told you earlier, we go through a stretch of games, and we've got a few losses, and one of the coaches actually made a comment just about how classy our kids were afterwards, after a tough loss, looking him in the eye and shaking his hand and telling him good luck and good job. And this is who they've been. We had them in the summer. That's who they were in the summer. They're respectful. They're coachable. And again, they were good to each other. They didn't show up officials, and they didn't show up each other or their coaching staff. And I'm glad you brought it up, because sometimes those things go unnoticed or maybe unappreciated. And this group has given a lot to our program, not only this year, but through the years. And I hope everybody appreciates that.
Okay, and a final question. We have a very talented group coming up. You know, the freshman class is pretty talented. Sophomore class is pretty talented. We got a couple juniors coming back with Harsh Barger, Yoey, and Tyler Fraley. You know, so we've got a nucleus of kids coming back here in the future. What are you looking for from them kids? You know, to improve the game or improve their games collectively for hopefully more wins in the next couple of years.
We got to get out and play. If you want to be better, you've got to work to be better. You just can't talk about it. And I think these kids will do that. You got to get out and play in the summer, and you can't just shoot. I mean, you got to work on the skills, the fundamentals. And I think they follow the leadership from what was shown as we talked at this segment about from their seniors, being great teammates. And that's something that our kids have done long before I was here. I know they'll continue long after. But, you know, you get out what you put in. And that's any sport. This is a skilled sport like all of them. And so they're going to have to get out, and they're going to have to play hard, and they're going to have to play together. And I know that they will, and we'll see that next season. Okay,
and well, another final question. And I can remember a few years back talking to Roger Kraft, you know, when he was coach here. And of course, later there in his career, last few years, it seemed like every season just got tougher and tougher on him emotionally at the end of the season. And he made a comment to me one time about people just don't understand because they don't spend every day in the gym with the kids. So they don't understand the emotional attachment that you get with those kids.
Sure.
Can you talk about that, you know, especially we have a fairly large senior class leaving. Can you talk about what it's like being in the gym with those kids every day?
Well, you do. And it's just not this year. You know, we've seen these kids since junior high. This is my 6th year here. So that's basically, you know, when they were 7th graders. And we've seen them grow up, and we've been around them. We've had them in youth camp, and you do develop an emotional attachment to them. And the hard part is when you lose, whenever it is, that emptiness that you feel the next day, not being in the gym and not seeing those kids. I'm fortunate enough to see a number of them in the hallways and tease them a little bit. But you realize that you're not going to coach those seniors again, and you just hope they come back and you see them. And you know, a lot of kids have done that through the years. I've been very fortunate that kids come back and they'll play over Christmas break or something, because they're always going to be part of our program. They're always going to be able to give something to our program, whether they're in high school or not. Just the ability to be a quality young men like they were when they were here. Now to see them come back and as they go on with their lives. And that's exciting for us. It's a little bittersweet, obviously, because we like to keep them around because they're such good kids. But you know, they're always going to be Buccaneers.
Okay, well that concludes the 2017-18 season of boys basketball with BuccsWeekly. Up next, after this break, we will talk to Jim Meyer and get an update on girls basketball.
Color Green Photo offers a variety of photographic options for high school seniors, weddings, and families. We pride ourselves in providing creative and captivating images that have a special meaning to those we shoot. Please visit colorgreenphoto.com to view samples of our work and contact us at 937-418-0417 to schedule your next photo session.
Hello, my name is Ron Sutherland, President of Covington Savings and Loan. We have been a part of the Covington and the surrounding community since 1886. We have been serving both savings and loan customers and help promoting home ownership. Stop by and talk with Jason for your lending needs, or see Diane in Brooklyn for all your savings needs. Thank you for your continued support to help Covington Savings and Loan continue to support the Covington community.
FDIC approved.
Welcome back to BuccsWeekly, Week 12 of the winter sports season. And I'm with Covington girls basketball coach Jim Meyer and the Lady Buccs. Last night had a real exciting game over at Brookville with the sectional championship over Frank Monroe, 56-44. And coach, you had to be really excited about the way the girls played last night.
It was just a great effort at both ends of the floor. I was just so proud of them, because we talked about this last week. Frank Monroe beat us by 16 early in the year and really took it to us, and we didn't play one of our better games. We thought we could play better. And what I was most proud of is that we put in a game plan, especially defensively, thinking that it would cause certain things to them, and It did. Our kids executed that defensive game plan and really handled them on that end. And then, of course, Jordan stepped up and hit some big threes. You know, we talked about last year against Miami Valley, Lexi Long scoring 21, and I told the coaches somebody's got to channel her inner Lexi Long tonight. I don't know who's going to be, but somebody's got to do it, and Jordan did. So that plus our defensive effort really led to a big win for us.
Well, and I thought the key, a big key to the game was, you know, it was tied 10-10 after the first quarter, and then they came out bam, and all of a sudden they're up 8 points. They scored 8 straight points to go up 18-10, and then you had called a timeout, and we went on a 14-0 run, and I thought that was really a big momentum swing for us, especially going into the second half.
Yeah, I think that 14-point run probably set the tone for the rest of the game. You know, for them to get up 8, and they probably thought, okay, here we go, we're going to take control. And you know, the Lady Bucks just aren't that way. They're a mature team. Obviously, we're not going to panic midway through the second quarter, if we panic at all. But that, you know, we're not going to do it then. And they just came out. One big key was Karina Conley got in foul trouble and had to go sit down. And FM's a little bit different team when she's off the floor, and so we took advantage of that. And yeah, that was a great run. And then to go into halftime with a 4-point lead, certainly a lot better than going in down 18, which we did the first game.
Well, and I thought another big sequence in the game was the Kennedy Morris for them come down and hit a huge 3-pointer. I think it put them down by 5.
Right.
Moved, you know, cut it to within 5 there in the third quarter, and then right away Jordan Crowd comes down the other end, and right in front of our fans just drills a huge 3-pointer. And you kind of see at that point some of the air kind of being taken out of them a little bit.
Yeah, that was a great answer. And once we got the game to double digits, I think then the doubt in their mind started to turn to reality a little bit, because they just weren't closing the gap. And we were able to take it out. And you know, once we get out there, then our kids can really relax and play. And so yeah, there were just some big moments throughout that game.
And then to close the show there, late in the fourth quarter, I believe that it was an 8 or 9 point game with about 2 minutes to go, and they left Corral open again. It looked like her favorite spot was right there, right in front of where her mother was sitting in the bleachers, but she hit 2 big threes back to back there late in the fourth quarter to pretty much end all out.
Yeah, Ben, those were 2 big threes when nobody was supposed to be shooting too. We've had difficulty with our delay game this year. Some of them don't want to delay. But with that being said, both shots went in, and those 2 shots were definitely daggers. That really led to our victory. So I guess when they go in, I'm not near as upset as when we're delaying and they don't go in.
Okay, and you know, of course, Jordan had a big game. You know, Sammy being Sammy, she has her typical big game. But man, it was so great to see Lily Hamilton back on the floor last night, and just, you know, to see her have an impact. She blocked some shots. She scored some, 6 points in the time she was on the floor. But she's an added weapon when you got her out there.
Well, and you know, Lily still isn't completely right, but Lily has the attitude like everybody else. I want to play. I want to help the team. And you're right, just her presence in the lane, having 6 foot and 1 inch in the lane, caused Franklin Monroe to hesitate a little bit, just knowing she was there, and that presence alone really helps. And yeah, but it's great to have her back, and I know she will go as long and as hard as she can go, because she wants to be part of this journey that we're on.
Okay, and then another thing I noticed too is the 2 Morgans. We talked about them last week, and it just seems like, here in the tournament, they didn't really get a lot of varsity playing time, throughout the year, but more and more as the season's gotten deeper here, they've seen more playing time at the varsity level. And it looks like both of those girls are really kind of gotten more comfortable playing at the varsity level. And last night it showed again. I mean, Morgan Kimmel, she was right there in the mix inside the paint.
she loves to be in the mix inside the paint.
She wants to turn into a wrestling house, don't she?
But that's fine. Every team needs a hammer, and we've got a few of them. Yeah, they've done a great job. You know, they never know when they're going to get thrown in. They don't know for how long it's going to be, but they're always ready to go, and they always do a great job. And you know, one other kid that I don't want to fail to mention is Kenzie Long, who drew a big defensive assignment last night on Bell Cable for Franklin Monroe. Their leading three-point shooter, held her to 2 points, and played well at the offensive end as well. So we had some really, really good performances last night from Jordan and from Kenzie, from Lil, and then of course, you know, the Morgan's coming up bench. Everybody contributed to this win.
Well, and also Tori and Lauren Christian, you know, the Conley girl, you know, she's a pretty rangy girl and very, very athletic. And we held her to three field goals the whole night.
Right.
And that's, in a tournament game at that level, that's pretty big.
Right, and you know, Tori and Lauren are very physical players. And we thought going in that we needed to have bodies on her, try to make life a little uncomfortable for her. Plus, the defense we were playing didn't allow her to do the things she normally does offensively, so that was a positive as well. But yeah, they really, really defended. We got good help down to her when the ball went inside and just limited her ability to score.
Okay, so that sets up a district final showdown Saturday over at Troy at 1 o'clock against Legacy Christian. What do you know about Legacy Christian, and what can we expect from them?
They're very good. They're going to come in 21-3. Lost to teams like Waynesville, Hamilton Baden, who are really, really good programs. They are fast. They love to transition. They love to pressure the ball and score off turnovers. And every one of their girls can sit out and shoot threes. So they're gonna present some problems for us in terms of matching up. We're trying to work on how we're going to defend them. But you know, we talked about this last week. We're in the hunter position now. You know, from here on out, we're the underdog. We were the underdog last night, and we got the job done. We're going to be the underdog going in on Saturday. And I think the kids like playing from that position because they know they got to come ready and they got to come aggressive. And so hopefully it'll be a really good game. I'd love to get as many fans out as possible, Ben. We had, I could just say this. I thought it was so cool last night. We were, the bench was facing our crowd with about 20 seconds to go. Our entire fan base, and it was a great crowd, stood up and just started clapping for the kids and cheering, you know, that last 20 seconds. And that was so powerful and so emotional, and the kids ride off that crowd energy. So if we can get a big crowd over to Troy on Saturday afternoon, that would really, really give us an advantage.
Well, and the Go Bucks Go chants throughout pretty much a lot of the fourth quarter, I think, really got the girls, the elevated their play.
Yeah, it means so much. I mean, we don't get to play in front of big crowds a lot. So when you get a big crowd and then you get the crowd behind you, it just, you know, motivates them even more to play harder.
Okay, the Lady Bucks will be playing over in the district championship game on Saturday. Game time is at 1 o'clock at Troy High School. You check online to get the pre-sale tickets and find out when they're available. And up next, we will talk to the star of last night's game, Jordan Crow.
Hi, this is Don Solon, pastor at Fields of Grace Worship Center. We are a non-denominational church with a contemporary casual atmosphere. We are a church committed to reaching outside our walls while at the same time caring for those that call Fields of Grace home. Maybe you know Fields of Grace by all our community events. You are always welcome to come on over for a cup of coffee Sunday mornings and check us out at fieldsofgrace.org for service times.
Welcome back to week 12 of Bucks Weekly. I'm with senior Jordan Crow, who last night had a huge night in a sectional final with a game high 20 points, 18 of those coming on 6 3-pointers. And Jordan, just talk about last night as a team, you know, the feeling that you guys all had on the floor, you know, especially there in the fourth quarter, because it looks like you guys are really having a lot of fun.
Yeah, what Coach said earlier about how we knew what we had to do. We were the underdog. Honestly, I feel like we're more relaxed when we know we have nothing to lose. We just got to go out there, execute our plan, have fun. And then towards the end, me and Sammy kind of knew we had it because I hit a big three, like you said earlier. Number 12 came, hit a three, and then I came back, responded with another three. And then from there on out, they just kept making mistakes. We kept getting them to turn the ball over. And then I hit those two big threes at the end when I wasn't supposed to shoot, but I went ahead and did it anyways.
Okay, so just talk about your shot. You know, I know you were kind of getting a little frustrated there the first two tournament games, you know, and I mentioned it in the article, you know, Coach Meyer, you never really put the handcuffs on you and just, you know, wanted you to keep shooting your way out of it. And then last night, I think when you hit the three in the second quarter, it kind of got you going, and then in the second half, it seemed like you couldn't miss.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I start out shooting, and some games I do make them, but sometimes it takes a while to get on. But my teammates, Sammy just keeps telling us, we always have this thing where we learn from a motivational speaker. We would always try to say, I'm depressed, and we just like laugh about it. And she just tells me to keep shooting. And then I finally hit it, and then like you said, I just couldn't miss at the end, so.
Okay, so from here on out, you know, of course we play over in Troy, and you guys played Troy High School earlier in the season, so knowing that you're going to be in that gym, and a gym that you already played in before, and plus Sammy wasn't in that game, and you had a really good night against Troy that night, how is it feel to know that you're playing in a gym that you're comfortable in, you've already played there once this year?
Feels good, especially because they haven't played there yet, and we have. And honestly, I bet you Tori would say the same thing. I'm just not ready for it to be over. So I'm just ready to play. I wish we played tomorrow. So.
Well, hopefully we get a few more here, and hopefully ends up in Columbus.
Yeah.
Good job, Jordan.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we will get an update from Eric Vanderhorst on the Covington Wrestlers who will be competing at the district meet this weekend.
Covington Eagles does a lot for this school and this program. We need to give them some thanks. On three, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Covington Eagles, yeah!
Thank you, Covington Eagles! Thank you, Covington Eagles! Thank you, Covington Eagles! Thank you, Covington Eagles! Woo! Thank you, Covington Eagles, for all you do for Covington schools. Go Bucks! Woo!
Welcome back to Bucks Weekly, Week 12 of the winter sports season, and I'm here with Covington head wrestling coach Eric Vanderhorst, and the Bucks are coming off of an awesome sectional wrestling tournament where, as a team, they placed third and qualified 9 of the 14 wrestlers to districts, which is awesome considering that we are really young this year. So, Coach, can you comment on that as far as, you know, having that many kids qualify for districts with such a young team?
Oh yeah, super happy with the kids, super happy with their effort. You know, we are young. We came into the season, we had 2 returning district qualifiers on the team. So very young team, you know, only 1 senior. We had Kyle Bargy who got hurt mid-year, and then Bryce Kaiser was our only senior to finish it out. So very young team, just super excited about their effort and their performance. The 14 kids that went to sectionals did great. We had, you know, honestly, we had a number of kids who didn't make varsity for sectionals that if I wish we could have entered another one in the lineup because they would have done well there. Mm-hmm. So we had kids that didn't even get to compete that would have done well. Of the 14 that did, you know, real proud of all of them, you know. Taylor Viney, he's his season ended, but he's, you know, picked up and learned so much throughout this year. Mm-hmm. Just big improvements in how he's wrestled. Your son David, right? He was giving up weight.
He bumped up in weight.
And he scored a big pin, got us team points. That was huge. You know, we had Fletcher Metz as well. He didn't qualify, but he placed 6th. Got us 2 big pins. Beat a kid with a big winning record there at the end. Come from behind. Dylan Stout picked up pin points for us. So a lot of scoring out on kids that didn't make it.
And Riley Richards. I mean, I'm curious to see because this sectional is brutal. I mean, we know
Yeah.
that, and we talk about that every year.
Mhm.
And Riley Richards is a really, really good wrestler that didn't make it out.
That's right.
I am very curious to see how things stack up at districts and see which ones from our sectional make it to state.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Riley,
Yeah,
really,
he had a great year, fell district alternate. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Maybe something will happen and he'll get in. It'll happen for a couple kids, so maybe it'll be him. But he had a great year. Just fell a little short this weekend, and I know it's going to motivate him for next year and in the off season. But real happy about his season. Had a lot of big wins. Just fell a little bit short there. And then, like you said, we had 9 kids advance. So we had 4 make it to the finals, finished as runner-up. Carrington Martin, Gage Kerrigan, Cale Vanderhorst, and Duncan Cooper. All finished. 14 teams. They all finished in the top 2, and then we had Kellen Anderson got 3rd, and let's see, Trenton Alexander giving up a bunch of weight. He had a big win.
Freshman.
Yeah, avenged. 4 freshmen made it out. Trenton avenged a big loss against Brookville kid who pinned him just like 2 weeks prior. Really strategized that match, and he came away with almost a major decision victory. So that was a huge turnaround. So that was a big win for him. He did a great job. Austin Flick, tough weight class, and he had a couple big wins. He advanced as the 4th place finisher. And then let's see,
Gavin McReynolds.
Yeah, Gavin McReynolds. Boy, he was seconds away from being in the finals. He ended up 4th place. They were all that even, but very, very close to making it to the finals. So great weekend.
And then a lone senior, Bryce Kaiser,
Yes.
knocks off the number 1 seed to stamp his ticket to districts.
I know.
And Bryce was so excited, we might have to open up his own wing to the Covington Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Because he was really...
he was super excited. Mom and Dad were super excited. That was a great moment, and it was great. It was just like, Bryce, he could have shook out in the bracket a little differently to get an easier draw. And he had to be some good kids to make it out, and that would have been a tough draw going into it. We talked Friday night after the day of wrestling was over, and I told Bryce, I was like, how good will this feel to have to earn it that way to make it out to districts? And he fought a heck of a 1-point battle, smart, really strategic, and ended up pulling out the win, and emotions flooded out after that. So
Well, and the bracket going in wasn't in his favor because he opened up as a number 2 seed.
with the number 2 seed, that's right.
And
He wrestled well,
Yeah.
lost the decision, but wrestled it well, and then it looked tough, and then the number 1 seed gets upset, and he's got him as his go-to match. So big win. That was really cool.
Okay, and of course districts in Hobart Arena, I want to mention that because they always, I hope they never take the districts away
It's
from
been
that
great there.
because there's always room. They treat you nice. It's a really great place for showcasing Southwest Ohio wrestling, especially in our district, and the competition is always unbelievable.
Oh yeah. The Troy location, that's kind of like the center of a lot of really good D3 schools in wrestling. Like at our sectional, we got 3rd out of 14. The 1st and 2nd place teams this year, Miami East and Troy Christian, they're both ranked top 5 in the state. That was just our sectional. And then you had the other teams around there like Versailles coming in, and some of the other teams coming in, and it really is a good location for where the hotbed of D3 wrestling
Well,
is.
Versailles was just in the dual team state Final 4.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So they're solid. They advanced a lot of kids. So it's going to be a great tournament. A lot of great wrestling. We're excited. We've had a good week of practice. We were at home Monday, and then we traveled to Vandalia Butler. Got to see a lot of D1, D2, D3 schools. Kids that qualified, got good practices in, and we'll be home on Thursday. Do a little drilling session, rest up a little bit, and kids will be ready to go this weekend.
Okay. Well, wrestling starts Friday over at Hobart Arena for the district tournament. Come out and support the Bucks. You're going to see some great wrestling. It'll be Friday and Saturday at Hobart. For Ben Robinson and Coach Eric Vanderhorst, good night.
And go Bucks.
This is Andy Johnson of Bucks Radio, the voice of Covington Buccaneers. Here to encourage Buccaneer fans to support local businesses. Your patronage of local businesses goes a long way in allowing them to continue to support Covington schools and Covington athletics.